everybody, and we're running a little bit behind on this particular podcast, though we're working on a new show, and that takes time and effort and pussycats. So with this, of course, it's the second vlogcast that we've done this 5 random things. Today I've got with me a special guest, David Strege from Inside Movies Galore and Delusions of Grandeur.
Hi, everybody.
So we're here to, of course, do like we did last time with Kyle, and that is to do 5 random items from the collections for people who do collect physical media. We've got Mike McNally here. Hello, sir, and thanks for joining us today. We just discussed a little bit. We all have a variety of things. Last time I kind of had a horror theme with Kyle, but I said, this time no theme is needed because unlike that, we actually do collect quite a variety of things. I don't think that you stuck to just one genre in your
No, I didn't. But in fact, my stack here is kind of loaded with all over the place.
So we'll just go ahead and get started, and I will start us off as I usually do with the 5 things, and then we'll just go back and forth until we get to the end of the 5 things. The 5 things. No, that's not it.
Well, I brought more than 5 things, but
well, you know what I mean. It's if it's a TV show, it might be in more than one piece, obviously. Like my 5th one is a TV show, and it's definitely in more than one piece. So we're going to start with Once a Movie for me. I just grabbed this off the shelf, and we are talking about the fat boys in the film Disorderlies.
Okay.
That's the film where the fat boys, who they are a rap group from the 80s, comedic rap group, really. And in this case, they all play as orderlies, and they find out about the plot to kill this wealthy man and take his money, and they are the ones left who are able to stop them. Okay. I really liked the Fat Boys as a kid, and this was a fun film to watch as a kid. And it had like Baby or Rich Man, which is one of my favorite of theirs. A couple other things of theirs. Are you familiar with the Fat Boys, Dave?
I am familiar with the Fat Boys. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. I watched it on VHS back in the day. And I know, no, you have a nice Warner Brothers archive DVD there. So
yeah,
I'll probably have to eventually, once I stop zeroing in on filling in my TV collection, get back to discovering what movies I do not have in my collection.
Out of a lot of the stuff I show off, and since it's random, it could be something I got on a whim, but this one I really, really liked, and I was so glad to get a copy of it. I don't know why. It just, you know how it is. You can see something in your childhood, and it sticks with you, and you want to watch it again and again. I mean, shoot, I watched What's New Pussycat just recently, and that I saw in childhood. So, good stuff. Well, I'll have you go ahead with your first thingy.
Okay, well, my first thingy kind of leads to another thingy, and I figured since you put out a movie or whatnot, I'll put out a double feature of 2 movies that started a series in the BBC called Doc Martin. And this particular 2-disc thingy has let's see, believe the movies are called Doc Martin and the Legend of the Cloudy. And Doc Martin, at least in these 2 movies, he's a doctor that, in the movies, it's a little bit different than the series. Because the series spawned a 10 series thing.
Good Lord.
But um,
Aren't there
this
shoes called
same
Doc
actor, same actor in these two movies that spawned that series, but he's a little bit more comedic and not as stiff as he is in the series.
Yeah.
But he plays a doctor who comes to a small island,
Okay.
and he uh, becomes the town doctor. Now, in the movies, um, he's found out that his fiance is cheating on him, and he just decides to just fuck it, and I'll just get away from the world, and I become this small town doctor, and all the people on the island are annoying as fuck, and they get in his business, and they just expect way too much from him. But he's got this annoyingly an insane what is it aversion to blood. So whenever he sees blood, he like immediately regurgitates whatever he's just eaten. So and it's just comedically funny. The series takes it to a more stiffer level, and he's just a doctor who ends up moving because he's been banned from being a surgeon because of his blood
Oh
thing.
yeah, that would do it.
So,
Well,
but sorry, the whole reason why I led into this, I had to show that series and the movies because they kind of go together.
well, yeah, I understand. So yeah, it's and that's one of those things. I have never seen it, but I have heard of it.
Oh, it's a great series. I mean, um, the guy who plays him, Martin Clune, his
Ah,
wife is actually like a huge like producer behind the entire series, so it's like a husband wife team. So,
well,
oh,
I've got one that I can guarantee you. I've got a double feature, I think here. It is actually, is it? Yes, I have a double feature here that I know you've seen. I, I don't know 100%, but I'm almost positive you have seen this duo. And that is the Roger Corman's Cult Classics Collection version of the Slumber Party Massacre Collection.
okay.
Oh, 3 films, sorry. We have Slumber Party Massacre,
1, 2, and 3.
Slumber Party Massacre 2, and then the third one was, okay, so they just called them 1, 2, and 3. Boy, they weren't creative at all. And they did a remake on for which I do have a copy of the remake for Shudder. And that one was pretty good. It was much more tongue-in-cheek than this one was. This one was kind of tongue-in-cheek because it got weird. And the third one, he had like a guitar with the drill on it. But he was this driller killer guy. Matter of fact, it has his picture with the guitar at the end of that one.
Fun fact: I actually did have an interview with the guy who edited the making of documentary on the on that Slumber Party DVD. He's from Wisconsin.
That is cool. Now, this one's pretty cool. It has some good special features on it for Shout Factory. I like these early Roger Corman collections, and a lot of these are out of print and worth something. I think Dustin ended up selling me that one back in the day, or you gave it to me. I can't remember. One of those two things happened. It came from Wisconsin. I know that Wisconsin.
Hey, it came from Wisconsin as one of those arrow sets that's out there.
I know that they've done a new release, like a Blu-ray release, but I think I'm just going to stay with this because this one, the DVD is good enough for something of that. It doesn't need to be cleared up visually any more than it already has. So, but it's a pretty cool thing. I enjoy little slasher stuff, and that's a fun slasher. Well, let you go.
Okay, so I didn't pull the whole entire box set because that would be stupid. But I do have the complete box set of Nip Tuck, which was a series that for the longest time was on like HBO or Stars or something like that. along with another series that I know I've been on here about. I believe that was 6 Feet Under. And but ended up picking up the entire complete box set at Goodwill for $10.
Oh, nice.
Except it was only missing like the second season. So right now the second season is on its way. But while I was waiting for that, I streamed it and watched it recently and completed it within 2 weeks. So
it's like about what, like plastic surgery or something like that?
it's basically about two guys who consider each other brothers, but it's kind of like a soap opera because uh, the one guy he's married has like three kids, and his oldest was actually fathered by the other guy who was kind of like a womanizer of the show. But it has a fantastic soundtrack to it throughout the series. So if you don't want to watch the soap opera, you can at least listen to the soundtrack track and look up all the music that because oh my god, it's like filled with stuff that I hadn't even heard before. So I thought it was an interesting series, and it had like a serial killer plot in it that was kind of interesting for a little bit. Dealt with Scientology a little bit when that was first coming out. So, interesting show, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely heard of it. Have not seen it. I have something I am pretty sure you haven't seen yet, but I could be wrong. And that is the Anhedenia Filmz movie, The Red Hand and the White Man.
I have not.
This was co-written by Evan Jacobs and Sean Miller. Of course, Sean was very young at the time. He was 12.
Is that the guy that the kid that was in that documentary that of Evan?
Sean's senior year, yeah.
Okay.
And so, of course, Evan's been working with Sean for a long time. And so apparently Sean had this idea for the film. And essentially, as his mother, and the film synopsis is as his mother has to go for an interview, Evan Jacobs' character has to babysit for Sean while gone. And yeah, and it's hard for, and Evan Jacobs is trying to work while Sean is trying to basically distract him. It's an okay film. It's kind of interesting to watch once or twice. It has a decent soundtrack. I like the name of it, and I think that the cover is pretty cool. I'd say it would be about average film for them. Of course, it's kind of cool to see some of the stuff and the trials that come from individuals on the spectrum at that age. We don't usually see that on film. I mean, so that was kind of brave of Sean, and he didn't let it out until Sean was an adult and could fully consent to it. Because I think that is good, because you never know. I mean, when you make something like that when you're that age, you may not want it out when you're an adult. If you know what I mean.
Very true, and once you put something out that was of you when you were like very young or whatnot, sometimes there are things that you don't entirely want out there for the public to see. But I'm glad that Sean had the audacity to be like, heck yeah, put it out there.
That's some bravery on that end. But it is interesting. I think it's a good supplement for Sean's senior year in a lot of ways. But there's some story behind it, and that's pretty cool. There was another movie similar to that he released the same year called Riding in Cars or something. No, Car Adventure, which is another similar concept between the two of them. But Sean also does the music in a lot of Anhedenia films. So if you hear music in these, typically it's him that's doing it, which is pretty cool. Sean's a nice guy. He's a good guy. I've talked with him briefly, and he is a nice guy, and I am glad to see some of his stuff out there.
Okay. All right. So I'm sure I've been on about I'm sure you've seen me go on about this on one of our pickup videos that we've done together. But I have watched the entire series of this UK series called Being Human. I watched it when it was on TV before they took it and turned it into an American piece of crap. Which you will not be able to get me to watch the remake for the life of me, even to try to give it another chance. It's just shit. I don't care what people say about it. There are other people who seem to like it.
Yeah.
But this is a series that had to deal with a vampire, a werewolf, and a ghost living in one particular apartment and dealing with the situations that of their loved ones, the changes that are going throughout out them, and the vampire that seems to be trying to hide all of their personalities all in one. And it's got comedy, and it's just great British cinema to me. It comes from the 2000 late 90s era of British TV stuff like Sanctuary and all that jazz. So it's in the collection. So
I need to watch more British TV. We were talking about Benny Hill not the other day, today, because we were thinking about where was it that all those weird comedies from the time of the 60s always had to end in a very chaotic mess. And then I'm thinking about it, and Benny Hill actually started doing his show in the 50s, late 50s, or mid 50s, sorry. And I wonder if that was a big...
Monty Python was a great, I would have to say, afterward of the Benny Hill era. And then there was a troupe of comedy people, which I believe it was Carry On, like Carry On Doctor, Carry On Nurses. I believe it was just called Carry On, and there were like 30 or 40 films that they actually did, which I wish they had a better like set for them all, but they are from that era of just weird, odd comedy.
Most definitely. Speaking of weird, odd stuff, I pulled randomly this one, Butt Crack.
Oh, a trauma, not necessarily from the mainstream trauma, but it was a picked up film.
They did a lot. They did a lot of publishing. They were a publisher for a good while.
Distributor.
And Butt Crack was about this guy who was, made fun of, and he came back as a zombie, and he had a deadly butt crack that created more zombies or something like that. And I don't remember a lot about it other than it was ridiculous. It was a zombie film. It was, it was entertaining. It kind of had that killer nerd vibe to it.
Okay.
Which goes back to, Killer Nerd 1 and 2.
Well, Killer Nerd 1 and 2 were distributed originally by Troma. So,
yes. So they do still have a similar vibe. Even Bloodhook and the one about the killer lawnmower, those all were distributed by Troma. So, I guess there's that similarity at it. These kind of weird, messy horror films. And this one was interesting. I would watch it again. Some of those, like the Red Hand and the White Man, I might watch once in a while, but very rarely. This one I might pick up just like if I'm in a mood. So, but yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's got a similar vibe to Killer Nerd, I would think. Have you seen Butt Crack?
I have not.
Hmm.
I have it in the collection.
I am surprised, Dave. I thought you would have seen
I,
it.
I see. I was planning when I was collecting the trauma films. I was planning on sitting and watching them all, like, and binging them one after the other. Although for some trauma films, you kind of have to uh, watch them once and then come back to it, and because sometimes some of them are not that they're hard to watch, but the pacing of them sometimes isn't the greatest.
That is true. Well, I will. There you go.
All right, so I still have to watch
What?
the previous. I'm still in the process of watching what is it? Lars von Trier's version of the Kingdom trilogy.
So
I
it's
did not watch this first. So, the only reason I am mentioning it even slightly is because I'm kind of like in the middle of watching that, but I have watched the Stephen King version.
yes, that one's heavily out of print too, which is sad. It needs
Yeah,
a re-release.
it does. So Kingdom Hospital is a very weird series. Yes, he heavily based it on the Lars von Trier's thing, and I guess Lars is lucky that he was actually able to finish his trilogy way after this series was made, so that he could put his final stamp on the trilogy or
Yeah,
whatnot.
the second series had a weird note it ended on. So yeah,
It probably kind of needed that third installment to it, which I've watched at least the first installment of the original ones, but it's got subtitles, so it's a
yeah.
matter of just sitting through it. I mean, it doesn't even have a dub, so um, but Kingdom Hospital was weird enough, and I think it was done around the same time, or a little bit after Stephen King had his famous accident.
Yes.
So he mimicked it in this, and he
He likes
says
to come back to it. He
yes,
does.
he because it was traumatic to him. I mean, it
Yeah.
really was, and I think uh, the accident kind of inspired him to write even more. But.
And Kingdom Hospital was a good one. I watched it as it aired originally, and
As
that
did I.
inspired me to get Ridget or The Kingdom, depending on how you look at it. I got that, and I watched it in college. And I remember that sitting there late night in my dorm, listening to Lars von Trier's intro to it, and it was my first experience with Lars von Trier. And looking at other stuff by Lars von Trier, this is actually that's actually a relatively tame series comparatively. If I had started with, say, Antichrist, I probably would never have watched it, or Dancer in the Dark. Heaven help me if I started with that one. I would never have watched Lars von Trier ever with that. But I really like The Kingdom. I haven't seen the third part, but eventually I'm going to get back to it. I actually think my wife would really like that series. It's just getting her to do it. Both series, really. All right, my last thing is a big one, which is Urusei Yatsura as a collection, which is essentially it's about this main character who is kind of chibified here, Ataru, and he is a womanizer, and not demons, evil aliens who look like classic demons from Japanese lore have decided to invade Earth. And they said that they would pick a champion, and that champion would fight their champion in a game of tag, essentially. And whoever wins If they win, then they get to conquer Earth, and if their champion of Earth wins, then um, they don't. And I'm not ruining a lot. This is all happening in the first episode. Then essentially, Ataro ends up being told by his girlfriend at the time that she would marry him if he managed to do this. So the one issue is that Lum here can fly. He didn't know that. So he ends up eventually figuring out how to do it by grabbing her brassiere. And while she's embarrassed trying there, he manages to grab her horns and beat it within the time limit.
Okay.
So he then, of course, shouts up and down like, "Yes, finally, I can marry you." And then Lum, thinking that he was talking to her, says, "Yes, I agree. We can be married." And that's the start of the whole series, where you've got Ataru, who's a womanizer and one of the unluckiest people in the world, and you've got Lum, who's a very jealous bride-to-be, chasing after him the whole time. And in between, a whole bunch of wacky alien encounters. They recently re-released the series. I have it all on DVD, but I've upgraded to Blu-ray because they've re-released them on Blu-ray. And this is much more compact, because this would have been like 10 DVDs worth. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the OVA series, which is another 11 episodes. And that completed the original series. This was done by Rumiko Takahashi, who created a series like Ranma 1/2, Inuyasha.
Well, I've got Inuyasha, but I haven't entirely watched the entire thing yet.
and you've seen Mermaid Scar as well.
Yes.
Now, she also did these movies for it, which are also for the first time on Blu-ray, and several of these are out of print, especially the second one. But you've got Only You. We've got Beautiful Dreamer. This one was the first one to come out because this one was the most popular. I don't know exactly why. Then we have Remember My Love. Lum Thee Forever.
Oh, these are all Urusai?
Yep, all the movies. The Final Chapter. But that's not the last movie. And then finally, Always My Darling.
Okay.
So now, this takes up a small portion of my shelf. Whereas when I had all of these on DVD, I still have them because they're very rare items, so I'm keeping them. But I keep them in storage now. They took up like 3 shelves. And that's too much for me. So that's it for me. I mean, like I say, if you ever get a chance, you should watch it. You watch the first episode, and after that, you can pretty much watch any episode at any time and get some enjoyment out of it.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna randomly. I got 4 more to show, and then some mentionables, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Once Upon a Time. Now that one I watched when it was on, and then it took me a while to actually pick up the entire series for it.
I stopped
Because I plan on eventually rewatching this. In fact, I almost think after, because I just restarted watching Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
Again, because that series is so great. But Once Upon a Time, that was a great reimagining of the fairy tales. And especially since the woman who played like the Wicked Witch in here, she's going to be starring in a new series that I want to watch based on the Rainmaker. So it'll be interesting to see because I might actually start reading the book, The Rainmaker, just so that I can whatever. But Once Upon a Time, Great series, great cast. Good to have in the collection. Another one. It took me a while to actually collect the series because I didn't want to stream it. I was against streaming for the longest time too, because I am a physical collector. Uh, I picked up, and it was seemed to be a yearly thing on Friday at Walmart. Um, that I would pick up one season after the. I believe I picked up the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Ah, yeah.
At Walmart's Black Friday sale one year, and then the following year I picked up like some of the rest, and then I ended up having to buy the rest that I didn't have or on eBay or whatnot. But then I pitched it to Tammy, and we watched the entire series. And I get that there are a lot of people who hate the ending. I get that, but and I even felt like the ending was rushed, but I still enjoyed watching it. So
I have yet to watch the first episode, so I can't say.
Another series, I watched this when it was on, so even collecting it, I'd already watched it, so it's probably going to take me a little bit to get back into it. But Gotham was a great series that was on TV. I ended up
about 3/4 of the way through.
I've watched the entire series. Watched it while it was on, but then I finally went and picked up the rest of it. And in fact, the rest of it is still sitting in a stack for me to put it away somewhere. But yeah, I might end up probably in the coming weeks, probably rewatching it just for the fuck of it. And then last but not least of the physical ones that I wanted to show is because my mom is against me collecting movies. Let me put it this way. She wants me to get rid of a lot of it. I will never, not until I'm dead and gone, will people be able to do anything with my collection. In fact, one of the things I always keep telling them, I want my collection incinerated with me when I'm dead. Because at least but in any case, she ended up going to St. Vincent de Paul, which is a place that actually sells things resale. It's kind of like a resale shop. Kind of similar to like Salvation Army or whatnot, because Salvation Army's got their own cult behind it. But she found the first 4 seasons of Downton Abbey, and she was like, "I remembered you telling me that you were looking for them." And it was random because my mom's totally against me collecting anymore. But then she shows up with like 4 more things for my collection, and it's like, okay, but now I've got to be a completist because I don't have all of it. So I ended up online having to go and buy the other 2 seasons and the movies so that I can complete it. So the movies and the last 6th season is on its way, because that same day that she showed up with them, I ended up going to Half Price Books and finding the 5th season at least. So
we so need a Half Price Books here on the East Coast. We do not. We have Second and Charles, but they are kind of iffy when it comes to finding stuff.
The other mentionables, which if I'd have had time and space to grab it down, I would have showed it. But I do have the complete Red Dwarf series.
A good one.
I have seen all of it. I introduced it to Tammy, and she loved the cat dude that played a cat.
Yeah. I haven't watched it past season 10, the Return to Earth or whatnot. I haven't watched it past that.
It gets a little stale after a little bit because the actors get older, but that beginning series is fucking awesome.
It
And
is.
comedy up the wazoo. And then The Walking Dead. I know that that's a dead horse right now. Beating,
Well, they beat that
still
horse
beating.
way to death.
They're beating it to death. They really are. But that series is a roller coaster of zombie moments. They do a fantastic job on the different things that have to do with the show. And I still have to get into the three like shows that they're still doing afterwards or whatnot. But that initial Walking Dead series was once I actually started it. I actually have video of me and her, Durbut, Diego. Diego is sitting in the other chair. Mommy is taking care of my mom and dad's cats, and we're just binging Walking Dead together. And he's watching the TV as if he's watching The Walking Dead with me. So that was my experience while I was watching The Walking Dead. I had a companion. So, but in any case, I think that's all that I'm going to mention. But I think I brought enough to the table. So,
Oh, more than enough. But yeah, this is like, this is but this is of course one of those shorter podcasts today. But we have to go on that long from now. Technically now, but I don't think Jake's gonna be ready. So,
well, and I still have to wake up Sleeping Beauty. So,
but any case, if you've liked this, hit that subscribe, hit that share, and if you are out there and you're watching this and you want to come on here and take 5 random items from your collection to talk about with my random 5 things from my collection, the only rules are you have to have seen it, because if you haven't seen it, it's hard to talk about.
true.
So with that, we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
SeptumSin versus the world. It's that place for all the boys and girls. You'll feel real safe, you'll feel real warm. It's a cozy place to ride out the storm. SeptumSin. SeptumSin and his best boy Jake see the trends that scare us every day. Physical media is going to the side. Doctor streaming